Welcome. We're really happy to have you here today. It's our inaugural customer event. It's the first time we've done this, but it won't be the last. So we appreciate you coming here today from various parts of the country, various parts of the world today. Also, before I go any further, I would like to do a shout out to our team who put this together, Taya, Jessica, and Simon. They spent many, many long days, countless hours, sleepless nights, putting this together, and it's the fruition of many months of work, and without them, none of this would be possible. And I really want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. And this is, I said, is our first event. About 4 months ago, we said, let's put a conference together. We've got lots of customers using our product, really starting to embrace it, going through agile transformations, and they need some help and assistance. So wouldn't it be great to have an event where we could bring some of our experts from all over the world together, meet our customers, share knowledge and best practices? Wouldn't that be amazing? And we said, yes, that's a great idea, but let's keep it really simple. It's our first time. That's a good idea, I thought. But then we said, maybe not. So we have an amazing 2 days for you. We have tonight 2 banjo players and bourbon tasting. We have 140 different sessions in 2 tracks, which I'll talk more about in a minute. We have people from every continent here. We have people from different countries here, people from the Netherlands, from Zurich, from Germany, from New Zealand, Australia, and Brazil. So that's pretty amazing. And Cincinnati too, of course, which is great. So it's going to be an amazing 2 days. But before we go any further, I want to shout out also to our sponsors. Without them, this event wouldn't be possible. And these are some people who we worked with us for many years in close collaboration. So to take time with each one, first of all, Cifa Software. Aaron is in the front row here. He's got a demo of his product Works over in the lunch area. Feel free to check it out. It's an accelerated manual testing tool. We've known Aaron for many years. Talked on the phone late at night because of the time zones from New Zealand. Great product, great guy. Coveris, we've partnered with Coveris for a while. They are a great team over there by the bar. No coincidence. We love working with Coveris. We've done a lot of partnerships with them. They've got a booth over in the lunch area again. Check them out. We want to do a lot of things with Coveris in the future. And Neotis, is Boris here from Neotis? Oh, Neotis, we partnered with Neotis for many years also. We did a train trip around Europe, Poland, where did we go? London, Paris, Zurich, lots of places with them. They have a great load testing solution. So if anyone here is a performance tester and want to see some of the great performance testing solutions that they have, go check out their booth. They'd be happy to show you. Of course, it fully integrates with our tools as well. And then last, but by no means least, all the way from Brazil, OAT Solutions. I see Anderson there, also by the bar. They very generously invited us to their user conference last year, so I got the pleasure of going to Sao Paulo for the first time and meeting all their great customers and their users, and they've reciprocated this year and come back to be with us. So we have 4 great sponsors, and Peter, our lanyard sponsor. So if you look at your lanyard, Influence IT, our partner in Australia. So if you need help at 2 in the morning, Peter's online, can help you out. 2 a.m. our time. Okay, so down to some of the basics. It's a 2-track conference. So what that means is in this room, which is the functional track room, we're going to have primarily sessions that teach you how to use our tools. So how to use Spira Test, Team, or Plan, how to use Rapise, how to use some of the extensions, how to integrate with other tools, some of the other add-ons that we have in the ecosystem. Also some focus sessions around developers, testers, different aspects of the tool, but fundamentally using the tool. Then in the other room, which is down the hallway, is the management and theory track. That's where you're going to find more about agile best practices, requirements management, DevOps, things that teach you not just about the tools, but about the methodology, how to use it in different industries and contexts, case studies. And the great thing is the conference has been organized so that every time slot should line up. So if you're in the functional track, we have built in 5 minutes to get to the other room. So if you finish a session here, you don't have to stay here all day. You can go over there to the other track and then get to try out some of the other experiences. So again, feel free to move around the rooms and take part in everything we have on offer. But that's not all. We also have a hands-on track. So if you find yourself finishing a session and you really want to learn more about maybe doing some test automation for a specific context, or you want to learn more about one thing that's always bothered you in Spira Team, or something you want to get more information on, custom reporting, workflows, that kind of stuff, go to the hands-on room. There are separate time slots for Rapise and for Spira. So go there. We have experts in that room when the speakers basically aren't speaking, and they're available to help you one-on-one. So again, if you find between sessions you've got a break, go over to the hands-on track. We've got people there who can help you. And then lastly, but again, not means least, if you need anything, logistics, travel, where should I go next, anything at all, find someone with a blue Inflectra shirt with the logo, and we're there to help you out. We'll help you with anything you need to do. So again, we have first aid kit, anything like that, come to us. We can assist you with anything. Okay. So that's a little bit about the conference. Now, about Inflectra. Now, hopefully you know a little bit about us because you've been using our tools, some for a while, maybe some more recently. So what are we about? Harmony is the word that we decided because we want to bring everything together. That's what we're about. When I say harmony, that comes in many different flavors. So first of all, different disciplines. You might be a developer, a tester, BA, might be the Scrum Master, you might be the project manager, program manager, might be the IT guy who's got to host everything or integrate things. We want things to work well together, different members of the teams to be able to work together in one environment. So bringing harmony across the different disciplines in the software development and testing lifecycle. Secondly, harmony across ecosystems. So if you have Atlassian, Microsoft, different platforms, GitLab, GitHub, GitLab, any of those tools, any new tools coming on the market, we know that the environment is complex. It's not one solution that's going to work for everyone on every team. So make the tools work together more simply. Make tools work together seamlessly. So harmony across the systems. And then lastly, the word is big and complicated. Many people here come from industries that are highly regulated, like insurance or healthcare, life sciences. You have to deal with regulators, customers, people auditing you. We want to make tools that make harmony across those disciplines also. So harmony across industries, disciplines, and systems. That's what we're about. And also, even within our company, harmony between work and life. We have a company philosophy around work-life balance, encouraging people to work part-time, full-time, flexible working, harmony amongst our people within the company, our partners, but also across our customers. And how does that manifest itself? So some things you may not know about us. We've been around for 13 years. We started in 2006, and the first version of SpiraTest was in 2007. If any of you notice a birthday cake appearing once a year on the product, that's our birthday. It appears on the login page once a year. It's a little Easter egg we have in the system. So we've been around for a while. The industry has changed many times in that period. There wasn't the cloud 13 years ago, for example. So things have changed. We want to focus on you, everyone in the room here who are our customers, not necessarily investors. We don't have investors who say, the latest buzzword is blockchain. Go build a blockchain module. We don't have that. If you need features, we build them for you because you express your needs to us. We're not following some hot buzzword in the industry. And that means we can give you frequent updates, new features, new modules. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in my presentation. And the other sessions will talk in a lot more detail about some of that. And we want to be close to you. You've seen we brought to this event people from every continent and every country. So we want to be close to you, local sales partners, local representatives, local consulting firms that could help you with training or consulting needs that we don't necessarily offer ourselves. And also bringing the data closer to you. When we started out, we had one data center hosting the world. Well, that doesn't work anymore. Data privacy rules and performance mean data has to be closer to the users. But who are our users? You're all our users, but you have different things you look for. So we see three distinct communities that we want to address. Testers, that's the backbone of where we are. We started with a QA system, SpiraTest, and we've grown from there. Developers, we're developers at heart too. We build software. So we like developers, we love developers, we want them to be empowered and use our solutions. But also managers. Managers are the glue that holds everything together. If you're a manager, you have to keep everyone happy, from above you to below you. There's a less polite way of putting it in, well, I won't do it on the keynote, but happy to. But as managers, you are in the sandwich, shall we say. If you know what that is. And that's the problem, is you have to manage all of this stuff, all this complexity. And so we want to make your life easier. We want you to focus on managing the team, not managing integrations or all this other stuff that unfortunately ends up being your daily job. Make it easy. So how does that reflect in our system? Well, there's two parts. First, in our core ecosystem of applications, we have functionality for all those three communities. Obviously, for testers, we have test automation, test management, test planning, test execution, everything to both do testing and manage testing. Then for developers, we have tools to help with planning and help people manage source code, integrate source code. We recognize that developers don't necessarily want to be managed, so make the management as light as possible and as easy as possible. And then for the managers, as I mentioned, the people who hold it all together, making it easy for them to find the information they need, make decisions, and manage teams. But it's not just the Spira system, it's also the other tools we have. So for testers, we first of all have test automation. We have Rapise, our test automation platform. But back to the theme of harmony, it isn't just our tool we want you to use. There are so many automation tools on the market, and they all do different things better than some other tools. So depending on what you're testing, you might want automation tool A, automation tool B. That's good. Different tools work better with different systems. So make them work together. So you don't have to necessarily use the same tool in every project, but it still works with our platform. Similarly for developers may be using different source code management systems, different types of pipeline. This is changing all the time. It's a fast-moving area with DevOps. So we want to make tools that integrate with the different pipelines you may be using, and it may be on different projects, different tools. That's okay. And then synchronization, back for the managers. As I said, teams will be using different tools. As I mentioned, different ecosystems, Microsoft, Jira, GitLab. It's a very fluid space, ServiceNow. Integrate those systems so that you don't have to. You as a manager shouldn't be the IT gluing things together. You should be using tools. Okay, what I want to talk about now, though, is not just the users that we have, but what are we doing for you? How have we improved the system? Some of the new releases that have come out, like the last month even, we've released new versions of Spira, new versions of Rapise. Let's talk a little bit about some of the functionality that you're going to see in the new version when you next upgrade, or if you've just upgraded, some of the functionality that we've added that you may be stumbling across and want some more information. And we have sessions today and tomorrow that will cover each of these in a lot more detail. But just to illustrate some of the things. First of all, for testers. These three areas are where we focused on for testers this year. Making best-in-class testing and exploratory testing and automation. And let's start at the beginning. Spira Test, we believe, is the best-in-class test management solution. Functionality, usability, and price all come together, we think, in a compelling solution. Two things I think we've added recently that really, really boost the power of Spira Test are the data configurations, the ability to do data-driven testing completely within the tool. And I have a talk on that tomorrow, day 2, in the functional track, testing 3. Please come to that. And a very small thing we did on Spira Test that has added a ton of value was the suspect flag. It's a small thing, but people have been asking for this, and we realized this could have a tremendous impact because you've got teams not working in harmony sometimes. Business analysts are talking to the customers, writing requirements, the requirements being developed. That's great. The test cases get written to verify the requirements. You've got your acceptance tests, and then someone changes the requirement because the customer has a need that changes, which is fine. But then we forget to update the test case. The test passed based on the old requirement. Now it doesn't work and no one knows. So the suspect flag automatically tracks those changes and automatically gives you the impact. You can find everything that's impacted by any requirement change. It was a very small feature, but it saves so much time for everyone. And so trying to add those big features like test configurations, but small quality of life features like the suspect flag. The other thing we spent a lot of focus on was on the exploratory freeform side of testing. People may say test cases are dead. I don't believe that. It's just how they use and how they work, it will be different. So in exploratory testing, we've got two things for you. First of all, there's a way of running test cases in Spira Test where the tests are actually editable and creatable as you're doing it. So you don't write the steps and then run them. You start the test and you write and document and explore in the tool. Secondly, a capture tool. So if you're doing web testing and you're using Chrome and you want to be able to capture your session, especially because you might be testing and you hit an error message. The error message may not be very helpful, but what you really wanted was what happened 10 minutes earlier that may have been the reason you got the error message. And without a capture tool, you've no idea. You may go through the logs and maybe you can find it, but maybe not. So SpiraCapture is our new exploratory testing add-on that captures in real time everything you're doing, and then you can export the important parts into Spira Test. So that's a really cool new feature that we added, I think, about a month ago, so it's relatively recent. Okay, and then on the other side of the coin, automation. As you spend more time exploring, or you want more time exploring, you should automate the other stuff, the stuff that's more mundane. We spent a lot of time improving our test automation platform in really two main ways. One, usability. Rapise has been around since 2010, and in 2010, if you remember the world, the ribbon was the thing. Our MS Office came out with Microsoft Word. Everyone thought the world was going to be ribbons. It's very big, it's easy to see. Ended up being a lot of usability issues with ribbons, a lot of clicks to get anywhere. And so we spent a long time redoing the entire navigation, all of user interface in Rapise to do two things: cut down the number of clicks to do anything, and give as much real estate on the screen to writing the test, seeing the results, recording the objects, the things that you want to spend time with. So we did a complete UI overhaul of Rapise. Secondly, applications. Having a great automation tool is not enough. It has to be able to work with the applications that you have to test. So, for example, we now have the best-in-class support for Microsoft Dynamics, from AX to Nav, 365, 365 for Operations, Business Central, Unified Service Desk, every flavor of the Microsoft ERP and CRM platform. We have pre-built-in logic in our automation tool that makes recording and testing automatically much easier and much more maintainable. We've built the logic in so you don't have to. Similarly with Salesforce, we do Salesforce Classic and Salesforce Lightning. Again, best in class. We build all the logic into Rapise. It recognizes the objects. You don't have to do the work. And then coming forward in the future, our next big target will be SAP. We're still analyzing how that's going to look. Will it be the web? Will it be the classic GUI? But we want to get into the SAP platform as well. And lastly, when it comes to test automation, the Achilles heel of test automation is actually this. It's the complexity. We did a study, and if you want to learn more about this, we have a talk on this in the 2 days. The problem is web applications change really frequently. So we did a study. We looked at the top 500 websites in the world, ranked by the SEO engine, Moz, and we said, let's look at them. What do they do over time? We snapshotted them repeatedly to see what changed. To see if I was writing an automated test in Selenium using my favorite framework, how resilient would they be? Not so good. That's some of the complexity we found. Everything is changing all the time. You write a test, a month later, test is gone. So there's no point spending a month to automate tests to save time if you spend more time automating it than you would have spent running it manually. That's the Achilles heel of automation. We've now introduced an artificial intelligence-based algorithm. It's not AI yet, it's the beginnings. Big data analysis and some machine learning to build an algorithm so the system will actually identify what's a valid change. This application changed, so it's still a valid test though, it still should pass. Or no, the application is broken, but letting the machine do that so you don't have to. That's for testers. A lot of stuff for testers, but not just for them. Developers. Now, developers, we've got a couple of things for you. These are 3 cornerstones of our developer offering. First of all, IDEs. Developers want to be coding and building software, not necessarily managing tasks and doing all the other stuff that you have to do, but they want to be in their IDE, writing code, solving problems, being creative. So we built an integration with a whole load of different IDEs. The JetBrains IDEs is pretty much every programming language they support, we have a plugin for. We also have Eclipse for some of the Java users, as well as for Microsoft, both VS Code and VS Studio. And that's just the beginning. We want to, again, add more support for different IDEs as people try different things out, like brackets or Xcode. Where it's possible to write a plugin, we want to have a plugin. And we're encouraging the developers of the IDEs to let us do that more as well. Obviously, code has to be stored somewhere. And whether you're using our TorahVault solution, which is a Subversion and Git repository, or using something like GitLab or GitHub or Bitbucket, integration is there. We want to make it easy for you to store your source code where it makes sense for you and integrate it so it's part of your life cycle. So you can trace it, you can see what's changed, what's the impact. DevOps, the big buzzword, but it's a lot more than that. It's efficiency and performance, making IT operate at the speed of development. And there are lots of solutions out there. It's a very fast-changing area. We've had Jenkins support for many years, and for the most part, that's what people were using. But now the industry is moving forward. We're seeing increasing use of tools like CircleCI, Travis CI, GitLab CI, and then Microsoft released very recently a completely new pipeline engine in DevOps. We built integration for these ones, plus we've got integrations with TeamCity, Bamboo, various other tools. As new offerings come on the market, we're going to continue to integrate with those. So whatever pipeline you need to use, we'll be there for you. And then on the testing/development side, unit testing. UI testing is hard. It tends to be unreliable, as that's why we built the AI in Rapise. But code testing is really good. You can test at the service level, the unit level, the functional level. It's reliable, it's robust, it's a good thing to do. We want to encourage that. So we have built into our library of plugins, I believe a plugin for almost every programming language out there, from Python and Ruby to C# to all the .NET languages, Java, whatever you're using to write tests in, we have a plugin for you. And managers. The poor manager who has to hold this team together. we really recognize the pain you're in, and so we want to help you. These are 3 areas we've added recently. So let's go through them one at a time. First of all, risk management. Now, risk management is a very important topic that's often not considered in project management software. In fact, Peter on the front row has been nagging at us for how many years? 3 years? 4 years to get real risk management in the tool set. And he's right. Risk management is a neglected topic. It's often something that is an afterthought, or it's made like a bug type. It's a very different thing. You have to track and understand risks and manage them and mitigate them and work on them. It's not the same as closing a bug. It's a very different discipline. So we have added native support for risk management based on the Prince2 standard PMI model. And we have risk support. We have support for the management of mitigations, impacts, probabilities, tying it together to understand the exposure of a risk. Is it something that's going to happen once in a blue moon? If it does, who cares? Or is it something that's going to happen for sure next week? And if it does, everything's going to go down. So between those two extremes, you have to grade the risks, understand their impact. We have all of that. And fully integrated into requirements, into tasks. So the rest of the system brings that power into the risk management module. Requirements. I don't know if you have any BAs in the room, but requirements is a topic which causes so many problems on projects. I believe the Standish report said poor understanding of requirements causes 2/3 of every project to fail. Regardless of how well it's coded or designed, if you don't understand the need, you won't get it right. And with Agile, you've now got a move towards user stories. You've got maybe a move away from traditional big upfront requirements gathering. But requirements is really important. And what works on one project does not necessarily work on another. Maybe on one project, just a bunch of user stories is sufficient. But maybe you need more advanced analysis. Maybe you're dealing in the insurance industry. Regulators might need more detail than a few user stories. They might need compliance documents. They might need to understand what's the customer journey, what's the use case that someone's going to go through. So depending on your need, requirements has to be treated in different ways. And so we have now 5 different views of requirements. That's the same data. So back to our theme of harmony, you have a BA working in a requirements document view. You've got an Agile coach working in their Scrum view or their Kanban view. It's the same data behind the scenes, just presented in different ways so that different communities can work together on the same set of requirements and make sure what they're actually building is what the customer needs. And when feedback comes in, can be incorporated. And recently we added dark mode. And this is the feature that I was actually a little skeptical of. Like, do we really need dark mode? I'm a light mode guy, so I don't see the need. But everyone has loved this feature. It has been one of the most popular features ever. And in fact, I was on a sales call, and it was a person looking to buy Spira Test, and they had a selection of 2 or 3 different tools, and we were in the top 3, and they said on the call, I love the tool, it's got great usability, great functionality, I'm looking at some other tools as well. What can you show me that would close the deal? I said, well, we just added dark mode. And I changed it to dark mode, and he said, I get migraines every day. I'm sold. And he bought it the next day. So think about requirements and features. Sometimes you do something that's like, this is a silly feature, we don't need this. You may not understand the user's needs. And now that we've used it, I believe I've seen Cincinnati Insurance. I got to visit them yesterday. And I think it was Jim and Jeff showed me their big screen, and they have it in dark mode running on the big screen. I'm like, it does look good in dark mode. So I was wrong. Now, we also have, in the spirit of tech conferences, we have one more thing. So we have a whole presentation on the next thing. So I can only give you a sneak peek. Simon's going to be doing a big talk on this in this event. I forget if it's today or tomorrow, but today. So if you like what you're going to see next, here's a talk today which is going to go through this in a lot more detail. But we are introducing in the next major version program and portfolio management capabilities to SpiraPlan. And that's what it's going to look like, or at least that's what the initial concept is. We're going to give you a program manager's view, a portfolio manager view, and for the first time ever, an enterprise view of all products and projects in the system in one place. And we're going to have different widgets that will give you different counts of progress and completion and lots of cool stuff. This is still a concept piece, so please come to Simon's talk. And if you have some ideas, some feedback, things that you have opinions on, we are gathering opinion on this new idea, this new functionality before it is built. So back to requirements gathering, we want to gather some of your requirements before we start actually implementing this. And also back to the idea of harmony, you want to tell us what you think this would work, because one of the challenges of program management is we don't want to roll these very low-level metrics up to the top so that a developer changes a task status and the CIO picks up the phone and says, what did you do? You just moved revenue out of the quarter. We don't want that. What we want is people to work on teams and the program manager to find where the problems are and know where to work without it being micromanagement. So, where next? This is where we're going. These are some of the functionalities we're going to be bringing into the equation. And I have a talk on ALM and the future of ALM. So if you like what you're going to see in this next slide, I can only touch on the surface today, right now. My slide this morning is going to go through a bit more detail how we see this evolving. So for testers, we realize, and particularly for test managers, we have a lot of data in Spira Test, in Spira Team or Spira Plan, whichever version you have. A lot of data is in there. We want to make more use of that data. So you as a test manager don't have to go searching for things. Let the system use intelligence. It can look at the risks of the tests. These passed loads of times last time. Those are probably good. This functionality had loads of commits. Maybe we should test that more. Those tests repeatedly fail every release. We should definitely run those again. Now that's how you approach testing. Why can't the system do that for you, or at least suggest how you might do it? So having the system do more data mining and more analysis so that it helps you do the testing, the test planning, and the test execution. I've got a month to test. What should I test? Why not have the tool help you make those decisions? Not do the decisions, but help you make the decisions more easily. On the developer side, we want to improve our source code management features. They're decent, but we want to make them better. Things like pull requests, more integration with developer workflows, things like Git flow, make it a more seamless experience, even more than it is today. That's the focus on the dev side. And then on the manager side, lots of different functionality around how people want to manage projects. Now, not everyone's going to need these features. It depends on what you're doing. If you're working as a consulting firm, you have very different needs to a product firm. So having features that you can use inside of Spira Team or Spira Plan to make management easier depending on what you have to do for your role. And the idea is that it's, again, harmony. We have all this data, we have tasks, we have requirements. Why don't we have a Gantt view? That would be really nice. You can see the flow in the relationships. Maybe on an agile team, you don't need that. That's okay. Having different functionality and different views to give more people information to work in different ways. And then across the platform, making things easier, more powerful, and then some very specific features for different industries that we have clients in. So things like baselining, the ability to version and snapshot requirements. We have quite a few customers now moving into the world of hybrid hardware software. You're not just building software, you're building maybe a car has an onboard chip. Maybe you're doing the LED lights for the front of a car. It's highly computerized. It's not just a device, it's not just software, it's both. But when it goes out into the field, you can't patch it so easily, so you have to do things like snapshotting, understanding requirements, knowing what's out there, tying into SAP, what materials are out there. So again, tying in the software lifecycle into the wider business environment. That's what things like baseline will give you. And then also the ability to do more reporting, more reporting. We know reporting is something that however much you add, you need more. So improving the reporting, adding more options for customization is a huge part. And then on the management side, teams and tracks are a huge area we want to improve, so you can break out your QA team, your dev team, more fine-grained control over the different parts of the project. And then for those customers that need it, bringing things like time tracking. Quite a few customers have built their own time tracking solutions on top of it, making that easier so they don't have to do that. We were customers doing government work where they've got to track billable, non-billable, allowable, non-allowable, all that complexity. Make that complexity easier for those who need it. And again, it all goes back to the idea of harmony. This conference is also about harmony. So as we finish this session and we go into the tracks, I want you to think about not just going to the tracks and listening to the speakers, but meeting other people. We've got experts we brought in from around the world. If there's a track that maybe doesn't interest you and you want to have some time, chat in the hallway. It's all good. We want to learn from each other. Any of us with the blue shirts, if you want to ask us questions that you've always wanted to ask, and feel free. It's not just about the tracks and the sessions. It's about the community. Tonight we have the bourbon tasting and the banjos, and that's also an opportunity for you to learn and meet other people. Any of the speakers who are going to be here today will be at tonight's event. If you want to ask them a question about what's it like in Australia doing test management or risk management. If you want to talk to Andreas from Generali Insurance about how is it different from being at Cincinnati Insurance. Those kind of questions. It's a great opportunity to learn beyond just the formal session. So really be together, be part of our community, have a great conference. And again, thank you so much for coming today. Just want to make an announcement that if you are in the functional track next, stay in this room. That's where the next session will be. That is the how Spira was designed to be used. I'm giving that one. It's about how the system is to be used, the main flow. Over on the management track room down the corridor, Andreas is going to be doing a case study on Generali Insurance and how they use Spira Team. So again, we've got time now to move around, get a coffee, and decide which track you're going to go to. The rest of the day will be in the 2 tracks, and then we regroup after lunch. So thank you very much. Have a great conference, and thank you for being here.